Yo, 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 guys, please in the chat, let us know if you can hear us. Oh, somebody's birthday in the chat. If you guys all want to say something just so we can check the audio.
Up the Chelsea.
Hammer him out.
Craig?
Yeah, I agree with it. Hammer him out. Let's do it.
No. One more week. We need one more week.
No. We don't
Yeah,
need
actually, you
one
can stay
more
there
week.
for the season, right? Stay there for the season.
Yep.
Cool. I think we will get started then if everything is working. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Peer Pressure podcast. I'm joined by my two weekly co-hosts, Goats. First with FPL Stock. How you doing, bro?
Excited for tonight's Champions League game, man. Up the
Yeah.
Chelsea.
I wish I was in there. And Kayman, we will not be watching any Champions League, but we'll be watching some of our rivals in the Champions League. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, listen, sometimes it's the best part to, hate watch better than your teams. These days, I find more pleasure in taking a hate watch rather than watching my team. So, yeah, we'll be there when Chelsea failed to beat Bayern, isn't it? So, yeah.
I think Chelsea will do pretty well against Bayern. I think Liverpool, Atletico. Always hating on Liverpool. Anyways, let's go to our guest. We have one of the most experienced FPL managers I personally know. How many years playing, Craig?
2007, I think, was my first season. So it's getting up near your age, Benji. Really.
I was three when you I was three when you started to play, which is kind of crazy. But it's great to have you on, man. And me and Craig are on Wildcard 5. We're gonna be taking a look at our drafts. Obviously getting the peer advice from Kayman and Stock. Maybe they'll pressure us into a few picks, who knows? Let me just go back to the chat and see everything's all good. Serba Bank says we can hear you all fine. Cool, we're gonna move into the first. Before we start, as always, little Patreon plug. Feel free to join our private FPL Discord. You get extra captaincy analysis, extra graphics, team reveals, weekly dilemma talks with one of the best content creators. Last season came in 1.5k finish. Obviously, FPL Stark is a great manager too. Finished in the top 1% himself. So a lot of advice up for grabs, personalized advice. Link in the video description. Patreon.com/peer pressure plus. We're going to start with Craig. Why don't you walk us through your team, how you went? Obviously, free hit 4 last week. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, free hit 4 was, I'd planned for it from the start of the season. I didn't have any Liverpool players in my Game Week 1 draft, not had any all the way through yet. So obviously they had a big fixture in Game Week 4. I had one Crystal Palace player, no Arsenal players, no Newcastle players. So it was a planned thing to free hit. Little bit of something happened strangely to my team. So the one that's on the screen right now was not what I thought I'd submitted at deadline. I should have had Calafiori in. I should have been playing 5-2-3 with Calafiori in defence and Josh King on the bench. But I don't know what happened at the deadline. Bit of a crazy Saturday night, to be fair, because luckily I got some auto subs on. So I had Potts from West Ham was actually put into my 11. And I had Jim Anderson on the bench, who obviously got 10 points. And watching that West Ham game go on and waiting for for the Potts to be brought on for like 5 minutes sub cameo or something was really nervy. And the board actually went up 94th minute. West Ham are going to make a sub. I thought it's like 30 seconds of this game to go, and West Ham are going to make a sub. Please don't bring him on. And then another young, like unknown midfielder on the bench, Irvin or something. Luckily, he ended up coming on instead. But so I got Anderson's points off the bench. But there was all sorts of chaos and a bit of a mess, to be honest. But yeah, 89 points was really good. Went up like 3 million in rank from the free hit. So I feel like I'm in a slightly better position, particularly in content creator
Can I
roles,
just
right?
ask
That's
you
not bad.
something? The decision
Yep.
to go Haaland Cap over Salah, what helped you get there?
Just that I thought City would dominate United was the mindset. Liverpool, I thought, would do well against Burnley. I didn't expect 1-0 late penalty. But just from what I'd seen in the first few games, I thought Burnley would be fairly hard to break down. Salah's not putting up great numbers right now. I know he's getting returns, but I didn't really strongly feel like he'd get multiple returns. And my gut was that City would sort of hammer United. And creating chances for Haaland again. His individual data is very good. It felt like one of those opportunities in the season where you can go against the popular captain and hope to get a bit of an edge on that, and it obviously worked out a little bit this week. But I wouldn't call myself a maverick. My team in many ways often is quite template, but I'm always looking for ways where I feel like there's an opportunity to go against what other people are doing. So my free hit was meant to be 5-3-2. That was quite unique. HAALAND captain was obviously quite unique. If there's opportunities to sort of be ahead of the pack, as I would call it, because I think bandwagons naturally form, templates naturally form. And what you don't want to be is like jumping on that 3 or 4 weeks after everyone else, right? You want to be on it first.
Yeah.
That's why my aim is I don't want to be that boring. Can I find ways to sort of set the trends and be a bit different? So that's kind of how I choose to play the game.
Yeah, really great team, man. Obviously me and Stock were on free hit. I think both of us kind of swayed away from the back 4, back 5 just at the end. But obviously sticking with that. I know you wanted to play the back 5, but obviously the benching stuff came in. So, but yeah, really great decisions there. I actually have both of our wild cards up here. Why don't you take us through yours first, and then let Kayman and Stock kind of set their eyes on it and pick apart what they want to.
Yeah, so at the moment, one of the reasons for playing the wild card is I thought my team structure was wrong. There was nothing drastically wrong with my players, but we're clearly seeing DEFCON defenders, I think, right now are stronger than attacking sort of higher upside defenders. So I wanted to go into a team that had 4 of those. And I think you'll get value for money from these DEFCON guys. The strikers, it feels like right now, is too much messing around in sort of the mid-priced ones. They're quite unreliable. There's a collection of strikers right now who are playing a lot of minutes. They're taking penalties. Not much competition for places. Not much rotation expected. Why would you not want those from the good teams rather than, say, messing around with Woods and Strand Larsons and people like that? And then the midfield, there's, again, a collection of what I would call quite high upside mids, those mids that can get 2 or 3 returns in a game. And again, why would I not want them from the big teams? So at the moment, my sort of defence shortlist has about sort of 8 options in it. My midfield shortlist is maybe 5 or 6 options, and I think striker-wise, there's probably only 4 or 5 that I would genuinely consider right now.
Yeah.
But that's my thought. That I think there's a pattern emerging in terms of what sort of players are best in what position.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough free transfers to fix it. I had players in my team, too many of them, that are fine. For example, I had 3 Nottingham Forest players. They're playing. The fixtures are still good, but we don't know what to expect. Rodgers and Watkins from Villa. Fixtures are still quite good, but Villa haven't scored a goal yet. I'm just looking at these players and thinking, I don't really want you. And
yeah, no, I 100% agree, man. And
yeah,
like that's one of the reasons I pulled it. Number one, we're in a no SALAH HAALAND structure. This is one of our weakest captaincy weeks. So the fact that the likes of Wood and Watkins for me basically dropped off as captaincy options coming into 5 made me not only unsure of them as picks, but also lacking a real option this week to put my armband on. That's why I like Cole Palmer this week. Both of us have him. I see you're on Gakpo. That's interesting. We'll talk about that later. But in terms of mine, before we go to the other boys, my defense, I really wanted basically teams that are not in Europe. That's one thing I really wanted at this time. That's why I don't have Palace. That's why I don't have the likes of Chelsea. I only have Gabriel in Europe. Every other defender is a non-European. 1 game a week, chill. And then obviously in the midfield, I have Njai, Mbumo, Semenyo, who are non-European as well. Then HAALAND, Gyökeres, I still expect their minutes to be good. Kayman, talk to me, bro. What really stands out to you about these wildcard 5 teams?
I think you're forced to pick assets, or you're forced to pick assets who does not necessarily have a good entry point. A good example would be, I would say, Mbimo, NDI, Semenyo. They're good long-term picks because their fixtures are good. Straight after the back of, say, for example, for Mbimo, Chelsea, they play Brentford and Sunderland, which is very good fixtures, by the way. And Mbimo is a type of player that he can return versus big clubs anyways. So I get that, but then you also have Semenyo, which the same thing could be applied for him as well, especially if he has pens. And NDI, I don't really necessarily think you could use the same logic for the same as you use for Mbimo and Cunha. Sorry, Mbimo and Semenyo. And you also have to pick Gakures. So I just feel like you're forced to pick at least 4, not premium, but sub-premium assets when they don't have a good entry point. So, defensively, it's all right. But again, you're also picking Gabriel who's playing City. You're picking Senesi who's playing Newcastle. So I think it's a bit. I don't want. When I say this word, I don't mean to. How do I say it? I'm not trying to take a jab or shot at you guys. I respect both of you guys managers, especially Craig, as you know, you're a veteran. I think it's
Especially Craig.
Yeah, I think it's suboptimal. With all due respect, I have to be honest.
Fair
I
enough.
don't think it's a good week to wildcard, personally. But yeah.
If I told you, Kayman, that if I would have waited on my wild card, I couldn't afford this team. So me playing my wild card on Saturday night meant I avoided Chris Wood's price drop. I avoided Ollie Watkins' price drop, and there was another person. I've had 3 price drops in my original team since I played the wild card on Saturday. This team, I think, is close to the bottom.
Not to mention Joao Pedro's risen.
No, that makes
As
sense.
well.
You know what? Yeah, that makes sense. So you're sacrificing Game Week 5 for the greater good, say up into Game Week 13 or 20, whenever is the next wildcard. So for the long term, you do trust the likes of Semenyo and Mbimo, or I don't know about NDI personally, but I'd say Semenyo and Mbimo, yes, the long term you can trust that. You can trust Gakpo again. I think it's also short term, but Gakras, JP, Haaland, these guys are long term picks, which I completely get. And if it was a scenario that you could not have afforded this team, and this is something that you wanted in Game Week 6, then I get it. Then I do understand.
Starkey, what are your thoughts seeing these 2 drafts?
I think Dewsbury Hall was better than Mark Gu. So I think I'm favouring Craig's draft, but I do really like Mbeumo. So maybe if I was building the draft, I'd probably it's not locked in because I think there's a lot of uncertainty around United. So Mbeumo looks great now. His underlying data is phenomenal. But is Amorim going to stay in the job for much longer if these performances and results keep occurring? I don't know. Then the data completely changes. You might find a manager who plays 4-2-3-1, Bruno back in the 10, Mbeumo right wing, Cunha maybe left wing. So things can change. So maybe I'd avoid Mbeumo. I love the Dewsbury Hall pick. I think he's key because you're using your wildcard early. We are no longer having the power to wildcard in 13 and get back to SALAH HAALAND. Having Dewsbury Hall in there as a placeholder is what's going to enable you to get back to that structure in 13 easily without having to rechange your whole structure. And I just think Dewsbury Hall at 0.5 more, Mark Gu is a great asset. He's taking set pieces. His minutes look great. Everton's attack looks good in good fixtures. You can easily bench him and you can get a bench boost off. Whereas with Mark Gu, you're going to probably have to use a transfer on him to use a bench boost. Because that would be my first analysis on both the drafts.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've played around with Forster and stuff. Craig, do you want to come back at that?
I think that's a fair point around the bench boost. I haven't used mine yet. I don't have a concrete plan. I've tried to work back from Game Week 13 because Game Week 13 I think is the critical week. There's a massive block there, 7-8 weeks from that point on, where there's clearly going to be a template around Man City, Liverpool and Newcastle in particular. There's a few other teams as well that have good runs, but they're the 3 sort of power teams of that period. I'm pretty clear, I think, from Game Week 13, it's very likely I'm going to want HAALAND, Isak and Voltemade as my front 3 at that point. So I've got a plan here on how I sort of pivot towards that. And Gakpo's there for that reason. He's quite a useful price point. Likely comes down to Ismaila Sarr at some point. That allows me to get Gyökeres up to Isak. So I don't really want to mess around with the defence too much. I'm a bit like you, Benji, where I feel like these defenders are quite safe.
Yeah.
I should always, at worst case, get 3 of them out. And I would be happy in most game weeks if any of these 3 played. They're all kind of DEFCON specialists, if I want to use that word.
Yeah.
Most of them have got some form of attacking intent. I'm not fixed on Chalobah in particular. I think his minutes might be a bit more riskier than some of the other ones. I might move him to, I don't know, Christian Romero or something, who's probably more nailed than Chalobah and offers a lot of the same sort of thing. So there's a couple of spots here where I'm not fixed. I might even find a little bit extra to go to Tarkowski because it's basically a 4-point floor every week, right? So defence, once I pick it, I don't really want to move there. Strikers,
Stark,
I've got 2 moves
Stark is
blended.
good with the Chelsea assets. Stark, what are your thoughts on like Chalobah and stuff?
Yeah, see, I would not have Chalobah and Mukiele personally because I feel like you're gonna be forced into playing Mukiele at times just due to Maresca's rotation. Because it's Fofana, Achimpong, and Chalobah fighting for the right centre back, and then it's gonna be Tosin and Badiashile / Hato at times for central centre back, and then obviously Kukure / Hato at left back, and obviously if Gusto's playing, Kukure comes as the left centre back. But Chalobah's definitely got competition there now that Fofana's back fit. Obviously, the caveat is Fofana's never fit for a prolonged period of time. Chalobah's been defensively solid, but his ball playing is quite weak, and a lot of Chelsea fans keep honing in on that point. So I wouldn't have him combined with Mukiele. I'd rather have two 4.5s and just not have to stress. I get why you
Interestingly,
want a Chelsea defense.
yeah, interestingly, Chelsea have conceded the least open play XGC so far this season. Newcastle on 1.9, then Arsenal on 2. So very good defense, although the fixtures have been there. Yeah, I like your draft, Craig. The reason I think Dewsbury Hall's amazing pick. I'm struggling because I just love Njai as an asset. I think his minutes are nailed. I've spoken to a lot of Everton fans. They say, listen, he's the main man. He's the center of the project, number 10 on pens. They don't expect him to come off unless it's a knock or, something like that. Like, I think he's a really strong asset. I want the pens from that team. I just think he's great. But I understand why you have Dewsbury Hall. And maybe I'm paying too much for Njai. What do you think?
Just
It's
a
an
quick
option for
thought.
me.
Yeah, go on, Craig. Go on, Craig. Go
I
on.
say it's an option for me when I'm going to downgrade Gakpo. I say Ismail Assar is the first name I'm thinking, but Ndiaye is a similar price, right? It could be him in that spot as well. The Gakpo is like a short-term placeholder until I want to get Isak, and then he comes down. So Ndiaye would be in that
So
on that short list.
that's interesting because it sounds like you have an Isak plan. The reason I've gone in Mbumo is because in game week 8 I sell Haaland. So if I go into the captaincy matrix here, if you see game week 8, now look, Everton's a good fixture. It's a decent fixture. But for me, Salah's run 8 till 12 is clear of Haaland's run 8 till 12. That's why I want to make the switch and then get Haaland back in 13. And so I would do basically sell Haaland in 8 after those fixtures, cap Salah in 8. So that's what I'm looking at right now. That's why I have Mbumo there. So then I can just go Haaland, Mbumo out, JP in 8, basically. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Kayman?
I'm confused. I'm so sorry. I'm confused. So you're selling Haaland for Salah, is that correct?
In 8.
Okay. I see. I didn't think about you doing that, Now that you said that, it's alarm bells ringing in my head. I'm thinking, okay, so you're not planning to go long term without Haaland. Sorry, Salah. So now that makes sense. Now I think I like your wildcard more. Craig, do you have a Salah plan, or is it just something that you just made up your mind that you're going to take him on regardless of what he does?
Yeah, I'm kind of accepting right now. I didn't own Haaland once last year. And I decided at that point his price was too much. He wasn't going to get enough returns to justify the price. He obviously started really well with those early hat-tricks and it kind of died off. I thought Salah was better value and having both was too expensive. I'm in the same mindset now that both is too much. I had him on the free hit last week as a one-off, but if you said to me now, who do I prefer long-term, Haaland or Salah? I think everything's pointing towards Haaland for me.
But
And once we get Isak minutes...
Do you think 4 weeks of data is enough, though? To determine that Haaland is better. Yeah.
For now, I don't see anything that's going to make me change my mind for the next block of games. Let's see where we are by game week 13, because say Liverpool's fixtures massively improved from that point. I'm of the mindset right now that I think Isak's probably worth saving 3-4 million on Salah at that point. So my plan is to have a route to Isak.
But the thing is, right, I completely get it. But don't you think we need to first see Isak play before we come to such conclusions that Isak can somewhat, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but somewhat potentially cover Liverpool attack / Salah, basically?
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'll jump to Isak immediately, but I want to have the option of getting to him. I've got the same option as Benji if I really want it. That if I just want to do a 2-move shuffle, I can get Haaland to Salah.
Yeah, I think that's something if you could keep yourself open to, because if you look at the captaincy in game week 8, Salah on paper is the best captain.
I mean, look, Haaland could be the best cap against Everton at home. It's just for me, 8 onwards, I prefer Salah. Brentford, Villa. I'm sorry, Craig. I know you're a Villa fan, but I mean, he's gonna have a few fast breaks. We know what Salah likes to do on the break. It's yeah, that's how I look at
But
it.
Benji, Everton. You're saying Everton for Haaland is a good fixture, right? I own both Salah and Haaland. I don't think it is a good fixture personally. I
How?
think I'll tell you how, because Everton, they're gonna go and do the only one thing: park the biggest bus possible, right? And you also got to think that Grealish can't play because he's on loan. So the creativity is, you got Dewsbury, Holland, and Di. I'm sorry, I like those two players, but I don't see them doing much, and I think they're gonna sit back and try to get 1 point personally. And I think in those type of fixtures, you see Haaland struggling,
Stock, what do
and
you think?
Everton, yeah.
No, I think we don't even know who will be the manager in Game Week 8 for United. So I think it's difficult to say which one's better on paper. I just predominantly stated that fact due to Salah having a good historical record. But so what we've seen so far of Salah is certainly not last season's Salah. It's going to be very hard to be last season's Salah. He's still got all the 90 minutes in the pens, and that's what he's getting in returns at the moment. But I wouldn't say Everton's a bad fixture for Haaland. City play low blocks every game, and Haaland is in the box, balls whipped into him. That's how he gets all these XG.
What I would
But
say is that what
go
we've
on.
seen from Haaland, I mean, City right now statistically, XG 8.47, open play XG, they're miles clear of every single team in the league. That's no pens. They've gotten no pens. They've had no promoted team fixtures. This attack is serious, and the data that Haaland's showing across the first four only is better than every season before. And you know what's funny? He's currently had less goals than he's ever had in the first 4 game weeks. Only 5. In the previous seasons, he had hat trick and brace by now and more. He was on 7, 8, 7. Like, he's yet to explode, and his data is just insane, man. So I'm really hot on Haaland. I'm with Craig on that.
I could conceivably use all of my chips by game week 8 at this point. I say a free hit in 3, free hit in 4, wild card 5. I think triple captain in Haaland against Burnley is a real possibility next week, game week 6, and then bench boost. I think game week 8, I think, has been sort of earmarked as a possible bench boost week, and I may look at that when I'm setting up my wild card. I think Sunderland, teams like that, have got quite a useful fixture game week 8.
Yeah.
That's possible as well. So I could end up going to all 4 chips in the first 8 game weeks, but
I'm personally going to save. The reason I have Guiyu is, number one, I want to ask Stock, because if João Pedro does get rotated, surely Guiyu gets some minutes. And number two, game week 16 could be a double if Palace progress. If they don't, there's still plenty of good fixtures. And the good thing about what happens in 16, we get 5 frees. So if the double lands or not, the fixtures are still golden in 16. I'll be able to plan my bench boost with those transfers as well. And Salah will be going in a few weeks. So ultimately, I'm not really concerned about carrying too much of a deep squad. That's why I want my midfield to be powerful. I don't want to be rotating like a forward and a Dewsbury Hall. I want a powerful midfield, money up front, and then a very solid defense. That's what I've built right now.
Yeah, but Ben Crellin said today that the double game week is less than 15% likely to happen.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that. We'll
long
see.
way ahead, Benji, as
Long
well.
way ahead.
But just have a think about like someone like Semenyo. If he goes to AFCON,
He doesn't go to AFCON.
He doesn't go.
Definitely not.
Yeah, he's
Definitely not.
Ghana didn't make it.
Okay, fine. I wasn't aware of that. I was just thinking if someone like him has loads of price rises, you might want to hold them through AFCON. It's not guaranteed you sell all your AFCON players, right? There might be a reason to keep some on the bench for a few game weeks, especially if you've got loads of value tied up.
True.
And obviously, that then damages your bench boost if you're planning to use it after. But fair enough, it doesn't relate to him.
Yeah.
Benji's got 2 transfers waiting to happen in Njai and Boomer, because they definitely go to AFCON.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, in Boomer, like I said, he's a placeholder there for Salah in 8. I'm quite sure I'll do that move. So, like, I'm quite sure I'll go to Salah. That's why I have Boomer there. And in Njai, I just think he's a long-term pick, man. Like, Everton's attack's looking great. He's on pens. He's a 90-minute guy. Like, I think Dewsbury Hall is great value, but I really like Njai. I don't care if it's a Merseyside derby. I haven't been impressed with Liverpool. And you know what? I want to start my Everton assets, and I want to see them get a result.
You commented on my long history of FPL, Benji, and my experience. I think you're the first person in 20 years who's ever been excited about owning an Everton attacker. In the whole time I've been playing FPL, I don't remember one person ever getting excited about Everton's attacking. Leighton Baines is like the only Everton player I've ever seen anyone get excited about, and you're getting excited about attacking players.
I mean, look, I'm hot on Everton.
Refreshing.
I think Everton are that team to make the step up to closer to the 10th, 9th. I think they're the ones, to be honest. They got a very strong team. I'm impressed with what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced. I'll quite happily own their 5 million starting midfielder as an 8th attacker. I don't think I'm excited enough to own someone to play most weeks.
I think he's great value, to be honest. He's on free kick, set pieces. Everton a good set piece team, so it's decent. In terms of
if you think about it, right?
Go ahead, Kim.
If you think about it, like I think Stark is the one that mentioned in the preseason, like apparently all the centre backs or fullbacks are like 6 foot, 7 foot giants. So you gotta think, Benji, like who's gonna be putting those crosses in at these corners or on these free kicks? You gotta think, Benji. You know what I mean? My boy Drisbury Hall is coming in next week. You know what time it is, Benji. All I'm saying.
Oh, jeez, man. Well, that's why I got Taco right there, bro. He's sitting on my bench.
Think ahead, Benji.
By God.
Think ahead. Dewsbury Hall in 13 is the enabler. He's the key
I know,
asset.
but I like Njai, man. He's a great asset. It's okay. I know. I've been teetering on this myself, to be honest. I have.
But yeah, game week 6. You know what? I'm actually debating myself between triple captain HAALAND and a bench boost.
Interesting.
Dewsbury Hall would be on my bench boost playing against West Ham. All those set pieces because they can't defend set pieces to save themselves.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, in terms of the cap matrix, so I'm assuming your path.
Wait, can I just quickly ask one last question about your World Cup before we move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jokeries, are you guys not concerned about the 60-minute subs and how Arteta's protecting him? Because he's not a 90-minute man at the moment.
Craig?
I'm not overly keen to have him. He's more in place for the Arsenal fixture shift around game week 8 and preserving transfers. I wouldn't choose to have him ideally for the next couple of weeks. We'll get to him later. I've put him down as a bit of a flop for this week later on. I don't think he's going to necessarily do well in this fixture. But I think I trust his minutes more than most other Arsenal attackers for when those fixtures shift. And I want a piece of the Arsenal attack at that point. So I'm kind of having to accept that for a couple of weeks now, I might not get much out of him. But at least he's on pens and getting starts and stuff. So you never know if Arsenal are a good team. So you sort of roll the dice in that sense. But I'm not desperate to own him now. But I think I will be quite keen to have him soon. So yeah. Do you have someone like Watkins now and plan to move him to Gyökeres?
I was thinking about it. But by the way, guys, this is our spacing schedule custom Peer Pressure Plus. We're just featuring it. In terms of Gyökeres, the spacing's pretty decent. They have Bilbao Tuesday, City home Sunday. They have a cup game away on Wednesday. Gyökeres won't play in that. So it's a full week rest before Newcastle away. And then it's 2 straight home games, Olympiacos, I think, in the Champions League, and then West Ham at home. So I'm not really too concerned with the spacing for Gyökeres. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Can I ask a question on Palmer? Do we think this is a selfish question, by the way? I'm looking at bringing in Palmer in game week 6. I'm a bit concerned about his minutes, just like you guys raised concerns about Gyökeres. Do you think, Stark, that Mariska may potentially protect him as well? And now that obviously he had this small niggle/injury from Club World Cup. So, yeah.
He'll be protected for sure, but I don't. Does it show our spacing there? Off the top of my head, I know that we play United away, and obviously we've got Bayern away tonight. 2 difficult away fixtures. I expect Palmer to play close to 90 tonight. I think he'll start United if he's fit, which I think he is. And then we've got an easy cup fixture midweek.
Lincoln.
And I think that's when Palmer gets his rest.
Oh, sorry, my mic was off. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah,
I think my mic was
quiet.
off. I'll ask the question again for the viewers, Stark, if you don't mind. So my question was simply, I know we're looking at Palmer now that he's back from injury. Do we think his minutes will be managed during this fixture condition, Stark?
His minutes, he'll be rested against Lincoln midweek. I think he'll play close to 90 tonight, and then he'll start United, and then he'll get his rest versus Lincoln.
Yeah. So in terms of spacing, Bayern away Wednesday, United away Saturday. That's a 5:30 kickoff, so a little bit extra hours, but obviously they travel. And then Lincoln away, that's a full week rest for him. Then it's 3 consecutive home games for Chelsea, no travel. I'd expect Palmer in those 3 home games. The Benfica one, I think, will be the easiest for Chelsea. Maybe the Brighton one. What do you think, Stock, in terms of minutes? I think 90 Liverpool is definitely happening.
Benfica won't be an easy game because they've just sacked their manager and hired Mourinho. So,
Yeah.
For some reason, Chelsea always have to face new manager bounces. We are the craziest team when it comes to this. It's mental. I'm surprised United didn't sack Amram for a manager bounce versus us.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. In terms of Villa's spacing, anybody who's keeping Villa, so they have decent spacing. Brentford Tuesday, then Sunderland on the Sunday, then his back-to-back home games. The only reason for Burnley, which I don't like, it's Feyenoord away Thursday and then Burnley home Sunday, so it'll be a bit of travel in that week. Apart from that, it's okay. Liverpool spacing okay. Cities, it's okay as well. Yeah. Okay, we'll go a bit early into PFC. I have added a few new stats on the screen that you can see. Craig on for Muniz punt. Very interesting.
This week's really hard, right? We spoke about it a bit on the wild card that maybe it's not an opportunity week to do it, but I don't think any of the fixtures massively stand out this week. I think it's a really awkward week to. If I was on a free hit this week, I'm not convinced who I'd want to captain. I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that Salah's the best one. I think it's quite open this week who you'd captain. And I was just looking at the fixtures and thinking which attacker has got a chance of a double-digit return this week. We've already seen Arsenal batter Leeds. I'm not saying Fulham are Fulham playing Brentford.
Yeah, Brentford.
It's not Leeds, is it? Fulham played Leeds last week. It's Fulham against Brentford. I think I've seen attackers been doing quite well. Like Charlie, FPL Meerkat, I think his stats are saying that strikers versus Brentford have been quite rewarding so far. You think Muniz is getting good minutes? He's a sort of player that's a bit streaky. Yeah. Sort of pops up with goals as and when you expect it. In quite an open week, that fixture just looked like one where, if I'm looking at, like, I ain't at competitions like last man standing, you have to pick a team every week who you expect to win. Even picking in that is not so much straightforward this week. I think Fulham will beat Brentford. So, yeah, it feels like a genuine option that might get like 2 returns or something in a week where there's not a lot of them.
And you flopped you and Stock flopped my boy Gyökeres. What's going on, man? We own him, Craig. Come on, Craig. We can hope for something. City's defense, come on. We think they can concede.
Yeah, he's played 2 hard games so far, right? He played say hard, but he played the tricky game against Man United game week 1, didn't have a shot, 0.0 XG. Tricky game against Liverpool, 0.0 XG. There's no evidence suggests yet in the big games he does well, particularly from a goal scoring perspective.
Yeah.
You know that game's going to be cagey, right? 2 managers that probably overcomplicate it tactically and it ends up being quite a low scoring game. I think it's probably quite realistic. I've seen nothing from him yet that makes me think he's going to dominate that game and take the game by the scruff of the neck and do anything well. I think he's a bit of a bully, right? He's going to dominate the weaker teams. I don't think he's the sort of striker that's going to deliver in the big games based on what I've seen so far. So I don't have high expectations for him.
No, that makes sense.
That's harsh, Craig. And the fact that I've seen him in your wildcard this year speaking like this, that suggests to me you shouldn't be owning him, Craig. I don't understand the pick now.
It's preventing future transfers, right? We really, the wildcard's not for 1 week, is it?
I get it now, but then, yeah, I get it. Wow, the way he's spoken like is like you don't own him. It's actually insane.
I don't want him, but I want him in the future, just not now.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
You know who looks like a beast? Do you know who looks like a beast? Kusanov. My goodness, in that Manchester derby, the way he was slide tackling was like Sol Campbell.
Everybody looks good against us. Everyone looks good against us.
I think with Guardiola and Diaz, I think that's a good centre-back partnership. So, yeah. Gyökeres flop.
He'll need a pen. He'll need a pen.
I went for Enjoy punt because they're playing Burnley. It's Ange ball. And I noticed that he played like the most minutes of the front line in the previous fixtures. So, I'm hopefully back in the mins in a good fixture.
Kayman. 100%.
Yeah, man.
You've hit 4 from 4 flops. Grealish
Yeah.
next. Jackie G, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, bro, Grealish. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. He looked really good on the eye test when I watched him for the Villa, and I'm surprised how he didn't get any returns. The reason why I'm going for round 2 though is simply because I just didn't like the transfer in when the manager saw he's playing Villa and he's playing Liverpool. I want them to fill it, and I want to stuck up on them because I don't think that was a good transfer. I think it was a bit too early. They could have waited a week or two. So I want them to get punished for that. That's why I'm picking him as a flop. I could easily pick Reinders versus Arsenal, but I own him, so I don't want him to flop. Even if he does return, I'm happy because his own price will go up. So yeah, I hope Reinders return. Rogers, this one is just, the reason why I actually made this pick is because I want to build up enough anger within my heart. The minute he blanks that, I can transfer him out. So I want to, I'm already angry. I already want to sell him, but this is just more fuel to the fire, You add more fuel to the fire. So yeah, do I expect him to get a return? Most likely not. But hopefully, I mean, who else do you pick this week? Surely get something. I've been over for 4 weeks now. 5th week, Sunderland at home. Surely they get something, man.
Yeah.
And Salah cap is it's obvious.
Well,
So.
personally, I'm going for Operation Target Leeds. They don't score goals. I've just gone Agbadu with a DEFCON. But Craig, I wanted to come back to you because there's something Stark said to me a few weeks back about Rodgers. When you've basically outgrown a club, he feels like that's kind of a bit of like Rodgers right now. What are your thoughts as a Villa fan on this situation? Because he hasn't been playing well. I've not been impressed with him.
No, I think the problem Villa have is they're in a period of transition from playing one style of football into a new style. I think there's more expectation now that Villa will dominate more games with the ball. And the squad we've had have been built around, I would say, transition. Lots of fast players, quick counter-attacks, etc., etc. And I don't think we can play that way now. Being a top 6 team, teams give us maybe a bit more respect and there's more onus on us to dictate a game and run a game. Our squad's not really assembled for that. We've not had... Most of our midfield's been injured. We've not had no settled central midfield at the moment. We've still got, I think, Tielemans out, Anana out. Kamara came on yesterday, so he might be back. So midfield we've not got no stability, no creativity really there. And we're just not getting play. I think there's a genuine sort of belief right now from Villa that we just try and release Watkins in behind as fast as we can. So we're almost like a kids' football team that panic almost. We get the ball into midfield, and then as soon as we cross the halfway line, where can we get Watkins in behind? And people are playing like ambitious through balls from like 20, 30 yards away. Obviously, they can work, but they're more likely to be intercepted or be overhit or something like that. So Villa should benefit from Harvey Elliott. He started last night. He's a bit more of I would say, creative profile that we had with Vincenzo last year as more of a 10. And maybe Rodgers becomes sort of a left forward. That's where we played him when we first got him from Middlesbrough. In sort of our 4-2-3-1, he played off the left. I can see us using him more in that role where he plays a bit deeper, his ball carrying's better, because he's not a creative number 10. And at the moment, we're asking him to play as a creative number 10, and he's not subtle enough to do it. And we're not getting the ball, we're not sustaining the ball well enough high up the pitch, I don't think, for him to link with Watkins. Everything stays a bit rushed. So for now, I think he's an avoid until Villa find a new system or a new way of playing and settle into what the new expectations are. I don't have much hope for Villa now. It's half the reason why I don't have Watkins on my wild card. Could it all come good for us in one game? And for whatever reason, these through passes come off and Watkins gets loads of chances. We've seen him before score hat-tricks in games against sort of random teams. He's done it against Brighton before and teams like that. It could be a game for him that he does well against Sunderland. And maybe they'll be a bit more aggressive because they're at home and see this as an opportunity to win a game, which might then give us more space on transition. So I'd rather have Watkins than Rodgers this week. Him in particular, I think, is struggling to find a role in this current Villa team. I don't think it's about ego or about outgrowing the club.
Yeah, fair enough. 1.4 projected goals for Villa. And surprisingly, guys, this is the lowest projected goals per game from Rob T Spread X since 2023. That's how icky this game week looks. Obviously the section 1 team to clean, we all got to pick a team for a clean sheet this week. Scores will be tallied up, but personally I think I will be leaning towards I'm not going Liverpool. I'll go, you can pick the same, by the way. I'll go Leeds. Leeds clean sheet.
Okay, so who's next?
Go on, Kayman.
Liverpool.
No surprise. No surprise. Die Dagger's gonna cook you, bro.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Stocky.
Crystal Palace.
Palace. Fair enough. Craig.
I'll go
Tottenham.
Yeah, I'll go Tottenham clean sheet.
Oh, Craig, Craig. If that happens, we're in the mud, bro. Everyone has Tottenham defense. Oh,
Yeah.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Surely Van de Ven. Don't you think Van de Ven is like unbelievable value?
It's just not long term enough. That's my only issue.
At his price point, you can bench him for ages, man.
This is the thing on the wild card. I've got basically a 4.5 or round about 4.5 million to spend. I've got Joachim Anderson as the placeholder there, but it's a genuine option of like tossing from Chelsea or Van de Ven. Anderson's, I think, the most nailed for DEFCON, and that might be the boring way to make a pick. But it feels like if I'm using someone as a fourth defender that I'd probably bench more than I play them, at least pick someone that's got the best chance of getting 4 points when I need them.
Yeah.
But I probably think Van de Ven is probably likely to outscore Anderson over a period. If you're playing him every week, I'd much rather have Van de Ven.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham will get way more clean sheets than Fulham.
For me, it's also Europe. Like one thing I really want is I don't want a lot of European assets, especially at the 4.5 spot. That's why I want a 1 game a week, a Fulham kind of player. Like I don't need to worry about Europe midweek and stuff. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. And I think he's really good value, Anderson. I'm just gonna go with him. I think he's absolutely no brainer.
Back three is quite nice, right? Of Senesi, Anderson, and Tarkovsky or something like that. You know, those three defenders could play 38 games, right?
Yeah, I've got Tarkovsky, Gabriel, Senesi, Anderson, Rodon, like super DEFCON with Gabriel. I feel like my attack's solid as well. But obviously I could shift some funds around, upgrade Guiyu. Like I've played around with a lot of stuff, like, but yeah. Cool. It's about time. My favorite section, captaincy. It is very tough this week. You obviously see the big 7 on the right hand side. It's Mo Salah, bro, right, Stocky? Is it Mo Salah?
Yeah. Why is Everton a good fixture for Salah, but it's a bad fixture for Haaland? Can someone explain that one to me,
Kayman?
please?
Yeah, I'll explain that. Salah is the one that breaks down the defense. He has more risky points in terms of creativity. Haaland is not the one that will be crossing the ball into the box. Salah would be. In terms of minutes, I think they're both at the same amount of minutes, to be honest. But just in general, like Salah is more involved in the attack than someone like Haaland is, especially from the build-up.
Oh, you're valuing assists more than goals.
I'm valuing points, FPL points, more than anything else.
No, come on. I'm asking you for a serious question, right? In that, what you just said, they've just played Burnley, who played a low block for 90 minutes. Given everything you've just stated about Salah's involvement, what was his involvement in the Burnley game in terms of
Because you
breaking
know what the
them
issue
down?
was in that Burnley game, because I actually watched the game. Like the issue was he wasn't getting the ball given to him as much. That was the issue. A lot of the time he was making the runs, he was open, he was not getting the ball. And I think it is a period of adjustment for Liverpool with all these new players, Ekatike, Wirtz, Isak. I think there will be a period of adjustment. I think it will take some time for them to gel together. And yeah, I think when the time comes and then they start to feeding Salah and show him the respect that he deserves, he could do really well. But in just general, he's a midfielder, right? He's got more risky points compared to a forward.
Definitely has more routes to points.
But the
against
reason
in
why,
the same, we're talking
this
about
week,
one
though,
fixture here.
yeah, I know,
Everton.
you're right. You're right. In this week, though, specifically, there's not many other good alternative, though. I mean, you got Palmer, yes, it's very good. But then I could make the argument that obviously, to be honest, on paper, Palmer could be better captaincy shot than Salah this week. On paper.
Super chat from Manu. Liverpool 0-0 Everton. Even if Salah gets a pen, Pickford would stop it. Follow me for more risky statements. Look, Manu. Listen, I'm with you, bro. I am full on board the train of David Moyes. Scott Parker, he just wrote the manual. Low block, and if you get an early goal, that's literally the script. Forest showed the script literally last season. So I think Everton, if they low block, they can have something. My only issue is it's just Mikolenko injured, Osnu injured. He's playing James Garner out of position.
Is Brantwaite not injured as
Brantwaite's
well?
still injured. So that means
Exactly,
the
so,
left
yeah.
backs are gone. I mean, I don't know how he does it, but he gets a good matchup every week. He jams in pens,
Yeah.
and I'm sick of this guy, man.
But think about it, right? I think Salah is not in form right now, so it's really hard to make an argument, like, because right now,
Cap him,
in terms
Kayman.
of like from eye test,
No
right?
returns in before 90. Cap
Yeah,
him.
but to go back to Stark's question, like, uh, obviously everything you mentioned, Benji, I agree with. But if I had Palmer, I would genuinely have a dilemma this week. The only thing that puts me off Palmer and that makes it slightly I favour Salah is because it's the fact that Chelsea don't have a really good record away to United, as much as we're absolutely in shambles in terms of defense and whatnot. So that's the one thing puts me off. But if someone was to tell me, okay, I think Palmer's a better captain than Salah, I wouldn't argue too much against that. But I don't own Palmer.
In terms of
It's close, definitely.
I'll just read out a few stats. So in terms of spacing, Salah and Palmer have the exact same spacing. The only difference is Palmer's traveling for both Wednesday and Saturday. Salah's he's going to be in Liverpool the whole time. So big added bonus there for Salah. Palmer, 1 goal and 2 starts at Old Trafford. Salah has a pretty good record against Everton at home, although he did blank there last year. Interestingly, Ollie Watkins, the last 5 starts away to promoted sides, he's returned in all 5, including 3 double-digit hauls. Shows you what a fixture can do, especially with Villa. So if you aren't on wildcard, I probably would hold. And Erling Haaland does have 2 goals and 3 starts at the Emirates as well. Craig,
Yeah.
who are you looking at?
Yeah.
I saw you have Gakpo cap in your PFC.
Yeah, because I'm not going to have Salah on my wildcard. That's confirmed. Palmer, I can't get excited just because he had 1 good 45 minutes against Brentford where he had like 5 shots or something. It's not enough to convince me yet that he's back. He may well be back. Let's see what he does in the Champions League, and that might make me change my mind. I'm open-minded to Captain Palmer, but at the moment, looking at longer term, I'm still not massively sold. And Liverpool's build-up, every time I watch them, they seem to naturally build up more down the left. Ekatike drifts that side. Wirtz instinctively wants to play that way. I feel like Salah's quite isolated on the right, where lots of the play seems to go down the left. Gakpo likes to shoot right, come inside, have a shot. Literally every Liverpool game I've seen, including some of the pre-season ones, his ceiling and his involvement in the game has been higher than Salah. One of the reasons why I didn't have Salah from the start, that it just felt like Gakpo was more likely to get something. He was shooting more, higher XG, things like that. Until I see some evidence of the Liverpool structure changing and maybe the build-up is more down the right, or they're trying to involve Salah more than it feels like they are now. If you said to me now who's more likely to get a hat-trick in this game, I think Gakpo's more likely to have more shots in the game than Salah is based on evidence. And if you're shooting, you might score, right? Yeah. So the players I have, I'm not massively in favour of captaining Gakpo. I don't think he's overly likely to do that well. But if I look at my squad, I've got to say Gyökeres and Haaland. I think that's going to be low scoring. Don't want to cap them.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer is an option. I've not got Salah. My squad, Gakpo's probably got the highest ceiling, I think.
Yeah. In terms of, I think Salah has just a great matchup. If both of the fullbacks are still injured, I think it'll be very hard for guys with Salah to look past him. But in terms of us with no Salah, Man United, 6.9 XGC conceded so far. That ranks in the bottom 4 in the league. We have also conceded 7 goals. That's the same as Burnley, same as Brentford. That's more goals than Leeds. It's more goals than Everton. We've conceded 4 more goals than Everton, by the way. So we are a shocking defense. We've conceded in every single game. Open play XGC, we are bottom 3rd. We are 18th this season so far. And by the way,
a good captain.
Look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea. XG 7.95, 3rd. Chelsea open play XG 3rd. So Chelsea are one of the best attacks in the league. And this is why I'm pretty hot on Palmer cap. If he has a good performance tonight, I will be very interested. So
what about JP? Benji?
Yep. That was my question, Kayman. Would you captain him over Pedro?
Over
That's
JP?
Yeah.
Depends how he looks today, and depends how many minutes he gets today. But I personally don't like captaining players who aren't on pens. And the thing with Palmer is, I know I get JP's a great player. He's in hot form as well. But Palmer has a different ceiling. A different ceiling entirely. Like Palmer could walk away 18, 20 points if it's the right game. And I do think, knowing my club, Kayman, you got to admit, we go even more attacking at home, right? You know Amrim, he'll
Bro,
put
I remember, right? Gakaras should have destroyed us. That man was running like 10 miles per hour. I don't know what was going on. That, like, bro, David literally put him through so many times. He was running. He was running with his backpack. I don't know what was happening, but I think, bro, strikers cook versus us. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think JP is a very good shout. Palmer is a good shout, and Amram lost the locker room. So this could be a game week where it gets ugly, 3-0, 3-1, whatever, right? Bloodbath. But it's just that Chelsea doesn't have a really good record versus us. That's what will put me off number one. Number two, Palmer just come back from an injury. And the fact that I think his minutes could be limited. I'm not saying he won't start. I'm sure he will start as a big game. Same thing could be said about JP, although he's in really good form. It's just the minutes. In terms of, if you take everything into consideration, Salah just seems to be the standout, objectively on paper.
Yeah. I just want to say, Stock, any interest in Semenyo before we move on? He will have the most rest out of all of the options I have on here. Newcastle defending has been good so far, but Eddie Howe, I don't think Eddie Howe has beaten Bournemouth since he's been at Newcastle. Obviously, Bournemouth looking very, very good. Semenyo's in red hot form, good rest, good spacing, back-to-back home games just off the back of 13 points. Any interest?
I mean, it's between Semenyo and Palmer. Semenyo is definitely a better option now because we've just seen him take pens in Kluivert's absence. I don't know if that'll continue when Kluivert's back in, but I think. Wait, was Kluivert on the pitch when Semenyo took that pen?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just like the fact that Newcastle will have a difficult game away at Barca. It's away, right, at Barca?
No, it's home.
Or is it at home?
It's at home.
Right. So
But still,
they
it'll
have
be a high-octane game. And then they travel to Bournemouth.
Yeah. Thursday, what is it? Thursday, Saturday? Thursday, Sunday?
Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah, the way Bournemouth press and make it very physical, they're going to need to... if they're leggy in that game, Bournemouth could outrun them, dominate them physically.
I watched, obviously me and Sock did a watch-along. We're going to do another one this weekend. We're going to do Chelsea United. But I did watch the Newcastle game with Stock, and I actually wasn't that impressed with them. I thought early doors, first 3, 4, 5 minutes, they conceded a few shots. That's where Pope got all of his saves. They started a bit rocky. If they do that against Bournemouth's press, that will be a goal. So, and I actually back Bournemouth in this game. Any interest, Craig, for Semenyo?
Probably not for captaincy. I don't think.
Yeah, makes sense.
It just feels wrong, right? Captain a Bournemouth player. It feels like something you do in a blank game week rather than when all the teams are playing. They haven't proved enough to me yet that their players are, use the word, deserving of a captaincy. That might be the wrong attitude, but I like to captain from like a certain group of teams. They're not really in there, so wait for some more evidence. If he is obviously signs he's becoming their talisman. If they put him on pens, he's clearly who they're trying to build the team around and give him everything as much as they can give him. So no doubts everyone should own him, I think. But I don't think this is a short-term sort of boost in form. I think it's likely to stick with him. But yeah, I don't know about captaincies yet.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just think the Newcastle fixture doesn't have that ceiling. And that's my main problem with it. Just if it had a bigger if I thought Newcastle were more targetable, I would be more comfortable with it. But in terms of form, spacing, Semenyo has a few ticks, so I don't think it would be a terrible decision to go there.
I have a question. Is Semenyo actually on pens if Kluivert is starting? Because he is back now, isn't he?
Most people would say no. Kluivert's a very good pen taker. Like, he's the only Premier League player ever to score 3 in one game, right? So,
yeah.
What do you think, Craig?
There's a genuine sort of belief and thought within the club that they want to keep him at all costs. Clearly, Bournemouth can only give him so much in terms of salary and prospects in Europe and stuff. They're going to have to throw the world at him to try and keep him, right? Loads of clubs are going to want him. Stuff like giving him penalties, captaincy, all these sorts of things are ways to try and sweeten players up. If they really want to keep him, I think he could keep them.
Me too.
So I would say yes right now. I think he's probably their new penalty taker. If I was forced to give an answer, I'd say yes, but obviously we need some evidence. But
I'd agree with that because I think listening to Planet FPL, they have a great Bournemouth correspondent, Neil Grover. basically what he's saying is Semenyo signed a new contract, but they all know he's going next summer. So it's basically how much can we get for you? And an extra 5 pens on top, that could be extra 5-10 M's. Like, I think they just want to sell him for as much as possible next summer, and pens would be a way to do that as well. So yeah,
I just
with
don't
you
think
on
he's a
that.
great pen taker personally. I don't think he's a great pen taker personally.
Which
So-
pen have you seen him miss, Kayman?
He hasn't missed one, but the way he takes the pen, it just looks suspect to me, bro. I've been watching football a long time, my friend. This is a foresight take, not a hindsight take. So when he does miss one, you'll remember this one, Benji. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, we're gonna get into the peer pressure team. Not sure if you're familiar with this idea, Craig, but anyway, it's me, Kayman, and Starks joint team. So the peer pressure team. We had a green arrow thanks to Starks, SALAH, TC, and you know what? I'll call it a success. 9 points, we'll take that. Up to 3.6 mil, 67 points, 1 free to go, 1.2 million in the bank. Anyways, so we're gonna obviously make our decisions on here, Craig, and you're part of that. You get 1 decision in this team. It can be a permanent move, whether you want to change the captain, you want to make a transfer, you want to activate a chip or whatever. We have vetoes. I have 1 veto left, Stock has 2, Kayman has 1. We can either veto each other or we can veto your decision, basically. But those vetoes are for the entire season. So it's got to be something we really disagree on, basically. That makes sense.
Okay.
Cool. Obviously, we have our 1 decision. Please, it's got to be me. So I have our 3 names in the hat here. I'm looking at the camera, so I'm not cheating. Shuffling the names. Is it gonna be you, Kayman? Okay, I've picked one out. Yay, let's go. Finally. Okay, so I can, that's for later. This is our team anyways. So we got Sanchez, Murillo, Pedro Paro, Gabriel, Njai, Mbumo, Salah, Kudus, Gakpo, Evanilson, Watkins, and then Diouf, De Kuyper, Kruby Jr. on the bench. We have 1 free, I think 1.2 mil in the bank. Not sure I want to be too active this week, guys. What are you thinking, Stocky, Kayman? Our team looks pretty good, man.
You want me to tell you what we should do?
What?
I think we should sell Evanilson.
No chance.
I'm joking.
You're crazy.
Or NDI. Maybe we should sell NDI.
No way. Are you serious? This guy has 2 goals and a 5-pointer with DEFCON clean sheet. And you want to sell him?
Oh,
You're on crack, bro. That's not happening. Stock, what are you saying, bro?
Is Murillo fit?
We're not sure. We're not sure yet. I think
Youth obviously needs to be first bench though.
Okay. Do you first bench? I'm happy with that. I think I'm gonna bank my decision for next week. Cool. Can you guys still see? Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
So Craig, you have a decision to make. Any decision you'd like. Personally, I think there's not really much to be honest. Pretty simple.
We already said
If Murillo isn't fit, we gotta deal with him, right?
Yeah.
Craig, what would you do?
Let's get into the mind of an 07
the
FPL
fixtures
manager.
aren't good enough really to justify a player for this 1 week. So any transfer you make is setting up better for the future, isn't it? Here, because I don't see an immediate gain from 1 week gain from whatever transfer you make. So if there's players here, particularly those 2 defenders on the bench, I don't see either of those 2 being that useful long term. So it might be a week to move them on to a safer 4.5. We've spoken about some of them on our wild cards, a Senesi or a Van der Ven or an Anderson or something. You've probably got a chance to maybe think about doing one of those, but I don't know if it immediately helps. Anderson's fixture is not awful this week. The goalkeeper, is he a problem? There's comments from Maresca, right, around Jorginho or the other goalkeeper starting some games. Would that be this game week? Are you happy to play Dubravka if it comes to it? The goalkeeper might become a problem soonish. So nothing stands out as necessary here, and maybe rolling the transfer is better. But those 2 defenders on the bench, I don't think you want in an ideal world. Neither do you want the goalkeeper in an ideal world. So if you move, I wouldn't be against moving any of those 3 players.
So I'll tell you what we got in the bank, Craig. Feel free to be active, man. I mean, It's your decision. 1.2 mil in the bank. Yeah. Up to you
I'd
what you want to
personally
do.
I'd move a defender to Lacroix, I think, if it was me. I think
Cool.
Stark said earlier he fancied the Palace clean sheet. I think he's probably the most underrated player in the game right now. 5 million, I think he's really good. Got DEFCON against Millwall win the League Cup last night after about 55 minutes as
Oh,
well.
you're making me want him on my wild card.
Yeah, I think he's a lock. He's the first defender in my wildcard team. I think he's an absolute lock. So I think he's just generally a good own. So I think you're setting yourself up well for the future just by having him. You play him every week. He gets DEFCON. I think despite the fact they're in Europe, he'll play a lot of games. I would probably consider moving a defender to him, but any of the three, Murillo or U4 De Kuiper, I've got no massive preference between them. But that's what I would do.
I think. What do you guys think in terms of which
Postecoglou.
defender?
Ange Postecoglou said that it looks to be just a knock, and that hopefully he'll be fit for next game week. So I don't think it's serious, but we won't get anything until Friday.
I mean, with Sunderland next, might as well keep, no? Or what do you think?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
let's sell De Kuiper.
I would say you can not hold the transfer to obviously maybe Craig can provide the decision, something like if Murillo is out, then Murillo to Lecroc, because then you get 2 million in the bank or something, 1.8 million in the bank, and then you can maybe do another defensive transfer or something like that to upgrade the Kuiper to a Van Dijk or something like that, or even we already have Gabriel, but yeah, maybe that money could be used somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind selling Murillo, but like, I mean, I suppose it does free up money, but
yeah,
it's up to Craig.
Bro, he got DEFCON in his first 45 minutes of football under Ange. He's playing Burnley and Sunderland. I just wouldn't waste a transfer on him if he's fit.
Yeah, I wouldn't move him. I'd move one of the other two, De Kuiper or Diouf, I think, if I was going to sell one. But you are taking up some of your free budget, right? Which you might not want to do. You might not think that's the best way to sort of spend 0.6 or whatever the difference is right now.
I don't mind.
The way I'm looking at this team, I think we should just dead end into a wild card. I think we should just aggressively use free transfers. Oh, something in my eye. Sorry. We should aggressively use free transfers until we wild card, essentially, because we don't have Haaland.
Yeah.
Are we sticking to 13 for wild card? Yeah.
We could free hit next week, right?
Surely.
Yeah. If you're gonna keep
triple
Salah.
captain.
Yeah, we can free hit next week. I'm down with that. I agree. I like Lacroix. De Kuiper, come on, we can't have any Brighton bums now. I think this is a good plan. 0.7 still left in the bank. I think Diouf, with some of the upcoming fixtures, Leeds, Burnley, he can help us out later down the line, get to that 13 wild card, to be honest. So I like this. Good to go? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lacroix starting over. Gabriel?
We don't have Haaland, so we might as well utilize Gabriel against the field. I would bench. I'd probably bench Njai.
I was waiting for you to say that. I thought Kayman was
way, bro. No way. Stark's trying to bait out my decision.
Use your decision then, bro.
Let's
go, Benji.
You guys trying to bait out my decision.
NDI bench. That's it. NDI bench.
Hey man, what would you do for Lacroix to get on the starting lineup? He's playing West Ham.
Honest to God, bro. I think I would bench NDI simply because I think Gabriel can get DEFCON even if he concedes. And there's also a bullet-headed threat from Gabriel. So I think you get the best of both forward on that side. You get something regardless.
Okay. So. I'll trust.
It's Ndai or Porro, right? Porro actually isn't overly great right now. No set pieces anymore. Isn't going to get DEFCON. You're basically all in on clean sheets for paying 5.5. He's probably a 2 or a 6 realistically. I would, if you think Ndai might get a pen or maybe has a higher seed, I think it's not unreasonable to bench Porro. It's one of those two.
I think Ndai could get a pen, personally.
In that case, then use your decision, Benji.
I'm not using my decision.
I think we should bench Porro, actually. I think we should bench Porro.
Yay.
Purely because Brighton's underlying data is actually really good, attacking wise.
It is.
And like Craig said, no set pieces for Porro until Simmons is off the pitch.
Craig's
And
got
Jai
that
has the
mastermind,
potential to
man.
hit.
That
And Jai has the
mastermind.
potential to hit DEFCON as well. So
Cool. Do you need to shoot off now, Sock, or you got like 5 more minutes? We can answer some questions. Let me know.
I need to shoot off.
All
You
right,
guys
cool.
can stay.
No, it's gonna change the window. So unless you can just like turn it off and just leave it, because then it's gonna move everyone.
It's fine. Just that's alright, Stock. I think it should be okay. Just we'll just end it here, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll be able to answer
Cool.
questions later on, guys. Obviously, if you guys want to check us out on X, and obviously if you got any questions, we'll try to answer there. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to
100%.
smash the like button, and thank you, Craig, as well for
Great
joining.
episode. Make sure to check out Craig's YouTube channel. I put a link in the video description. Please check that out, guys. Hit subscribe. His content is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and check out, obviously he's gonna be posting his wildcard team soon. So